Most of what stresses you out isn't actually yours to control. It's someone else's opinion, someone else's mistake, something from your past, or something that hasn't even happened yet. But here's the hard truth. The more time you spend worrying about what's outside of you, the more power you give it over what's inside you. In the end, it's not the chaos around you that breaks you. It's the chaos within you that you never learned to calm. Stoicism begins where the illusion of control ends. Not the kind of control that moves you forward, but the kind that drains you while you chase what was never yours to begin with. Here's what few people will tell you: peace doesn't come from trying to manage everything. It comes from learning what belongs to you and what never did, what you can change and what you must let go of. That's where true strength is built, not in controlling life, but in responding to it with clarity, discipline, and acceptance. This is not about running away from chaos. It's about facing it directly. It's about training your mind not to dominate the world, but to master the one place you've always had control: yourself. Your peace begins where your need for control ends. There is something profoundly human about wanting control over life. That desire starts young. As children, we cry to be heard, to get our way, to make the world respond to our emotions. As we grow older, that desire becomes more subtle, but no less intense. We try to control how people see us. We try to predict the future and manipulate outcomes. We try to force peace, success, and happiness as if those things can be conquered by sheer willpower. But the harder we grip life, the more it slips through our fingers. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. Epictetus once said, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." Read that again. It's not just a quote, it's a warning. The more you chase what you cannot control, the more you forfeit the peace that's already available inside you. Peace doesn't begin when life finally aligns with your plans. It begins when your mind stops demanding that it must. Picture this: you're stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. You clench your jaw, curse under your breath, and blame every driver on the road. But none of that moves the traffic. It only multiplies your frustration. Now picture the same scene, but you accept it. You take a breath and say, "This is out of my hands." But my reaction isn't. In that moment, you reclaim something most people never do: your inner authority. You didn't control the traffic, but you controlled yourself. And that is real power. Let's go deeper. Control isn't just about what happens to you, it's about how you interpret what happens. The Stoics taught that it's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Someone ignores your message, and you assume they're angry. A plan falls through, and you decide you're a failure. But what if none of that is true? What if the real source of your stress isn't the situation itself, but the story you've created around it? That's why learning to let go isn't weakness. It's discipline. It's choosing to stop letting your peace depend on things that were never stable in the first place. The weather changes, people leave, markets crash, life moves in unpredictable waves. But your breath, your values, your mind, these are your anchors. You don't need to control the storm when you've learned how to steer the ship. One of the most painful traps we fall into is the belief that trying harder will finally give us control. If we explain ourselves better, they'll understand. If we give more, they'll stay. If we worry enough, we'll prevent the worst from happening. But most of that is an illusion. You don't control how others feel. You don't control the future. You don't control how the world responds to your effort. And here's the most liberating truth: you don't need to. All you need is to take full ownership of what actually belongs to you: your attention, your choices, your attitude, your response. That's where all your leverage is. And when you operate from that space, something changes. Life stops feeling like a constant battle. It starts to feel like a dance. Some steps are yours to lead, others you surrender. And in that surrender, peace finds you. So how do you train your mind to think this way? Start by paying attention to your tension. Every time you feel your body tighten, pause and ask, what am I trying to control right now? Is it someone's opinion? An outcome? Something from the past? If the answer is yes, breathe, let it go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because it's not yours to carry. Letting go is not a last resort. It's your first act of wisdom. Your peace doesn't come from bending the world to your will. It comes from aligning your will with reality. And when you can do that not once, but over and over, moment by moment, then even in the middle of chaos, you'll find something most people never experience: stillness. Control is internal, not external. It's easy to believe that real power means controlling what's around us, events, people, timing, outcomes. But the more we chase those things, the more life reminds us that we never truly held that power. People change their minds, plans fall apart, things go wrong despite our best effort. And yet in the middle of all that, one form of control remains untouched: your inner control. This is the foundation of Stoicism. The Stoic doesn't obsess over what he cannot influence. He sharpens his awareness of what he can, not the world but himself, not the chaos but the clarity beneath it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That's the shift. Control isn't about forcing life to go your way. It's about mastering how you respond when it doesn't. Most people are trained to seek results, to fix everything, to prevent mistakes. That's why we obsess over how others see us, why we replay conversations, why we lose sleep over things we can't change. We confuse control with safety. We believe that if we manage every detail, we'll finally feel okay. But what really happens is the opposite. We become prisoners of what we can't command. Here's the truth: internal control isn't flashy. No one gives you applause for staying calm, or for not arguing, or for letting go when your ego screams to hold on. But those quiet victories, they build something unshakable. They build a character that does not collapse under pressure, that does not need the world to be perfect to feel peace. Let's say someone insults you. Your pride wants to lash out. Your emotions flare. But in that moment, you have a choice, not over them, but over yourself. Do you take the bait or do you choose silence? Do you carry their words with you or do you drop them? That decision, that's where real power lives. It's not just about emotions. It's also about focus. Where you place your attention each day defines who you become. If you give it away to every distraction, every unsolvable problem, every drama that doesn't involve you, then you slowly lose your strength. You feel tired, not because life is hard, but because you're carrying what isn't yours. The Stoic filters life like a master. What's mine to act on? What's mine to release? There's a quiet confidence in this mindset, a freedom, because when you stop trying to control the world, you free yourself from the exhausting pursuit of perfection. You become lighter, calmer, stronger. You become the kind of person who walks into a storm and keeps walking. But this isn't easy. It takes practice. It takes self-awareness. It takes asking again and again, am I trying to control the uncontrollable, or am I leading myself with intention? You can't stop the tide, but you can learn how to swim. The more you train your mind to focus inward, the less shaken you'll be by the world around you. That's the true measure of strength, not how much you control, but how little disturbs you. Here's your challenge for the next 7 days. Every time something frustrates you, pause. Don't ask, how can I fix this? Ask instead, is this within my control? If the answer is yes, take action. If it's no, let it go. Not because you're giving up, but because your strength is too valuable to waste. Real control doesn't need attention. It doesn't shout. It moves quietly, reshaping your life from the inside out. Not by bending the world, but by mastering the only thing you ever truly had power over: yourself. Dominate you. Or think of how often we waste energy imagining the future. What if this happens? What if they don't respond? What if I fail? We tell ourselves that worrying is preparation, but it is not. Worry is a mental rehearsal of pain. It drains the present moment of clarity and replaces it with fear. The Stoic approach is different. Do what you can. Prepare with reason. Then let go. You cannot outthink uncertainty, but you can choose not to be consumed by it. This principle does not only apply to individuals, but also to how we view the world. The news cycle, social media, and the endless stream of opinions and events are outside your control. If you let them, they will steal your peace, shape your emotions, and dominate your mental space. But you have a choice. You can unplug. You can limit what you expose yourself to. You can reclaim your focus not by ignoring the world, but by filtering it. This is what reclaiming energy looks like in real life: unsubscribing from emotional chaos, choosing your responses, and protecting your inner space like you would protect your home. You do not open your front door to every stranger. So why open your mind to every worry? Yes, this takes discipline. It means being honest about your patterns. It means saying, no, I won't overthink that again. No, I won't spend the day dwelling on something I cannot change. No, I won't waste my energy on someone who doesn't even value it. That kind of self-control does not make you cold. It makes you clear. Clarity is power. And when you stop giving your energy to the uncontrollable, you will be shocked at how much lighter you feel and how much more you can do with what is actually yours. Let go of the illusion of power over others. One of the most draining habits we carry is believing we can control how others behave. That if we say the right thing, act the right way, give enough, or stay calm enough, they will change. That they will treat us with more respect. That they will love us the way we love them. That they will understand us, value us, or finally give us closure. This is the trap, the false hope that our inner peace depends on someone else's transformation. It does not. It never has. No matter how thoughtful, patient, or generous you are, you do not control how others think, feel, or act. Trying to manipulate their behavior, even with good intentions, is not connection. It is control in disguise. The Stoics taught that to live in harmony with nature is to accept people as they are, not as we wish them to be. That does not mean you tolerate mistreatment or settle for less than you deserve. It means you stop trying to force people to become what they are not ready or willing to be. You set boundaries, not ultimatums. You walk away not to punish, but to protect your peace. Trying to change someone who does not want to change is like trying to hold the wind in your hand. It will slip through and all you will be left with is frustration. Think of how much mental weight we carry from relationships where we keep adjusting, explaining, hoping. We think, if I just do more, they'll see, or if I can make them understand, maybe things will change. That cycle turns into emotional servitude. You begin to abandon your own values just to keep the connection alive. In doing so, you not only lose energy, you lose yourself. True freedom begins when you accept this people are who they choose to be, not who you need them to be. Your responsibility ends at your side of the equation. You can offer love, but you cannot demand it in return. You can show respect, but you cannot control how someone responds. You can speak the truth, but you cannot force them to listen. The sooner you let go of that illusion, the sooner you reclaim the energy you have been pouring into the impossible. Letting go does not mean closing your heart. It means opening your eyes. It means seeing clearly that influence is not the same as power. You may inspire someone, you may support their growth, but the moment you try to bend their will to meet your needs, you step out of love and into fear. The fear of being misunderstood, unloved, or rejected is what keeps us clinging. We think control will save us from pain, but it only creates more. It creates tension, resistance, emotional warfare. You find yourself exhausted from conversations that never go anywhere, from trying to please someone who keeps shifting the goalposts. All along, there is a simple truth waiting to be seen. It is not your job to change them. It is your job to choose how you respond to them. What does it look like to let go of this illusion? It looks like no longer chasing apologies you will never get. No longer crafting messages you will not send. No longer molding yourself into a shape that pleases someone else. It looks like walking away from people who benefit from your silence and reclaiming the voice you gave up trying to keep the peace. Because peace is not found in controlling others. It is found in setting yourself free from the need to. The Stoic does not beg for understanding. He lives with integrity and allows the world to respond however it chooses. That is a hard path because it requires surrendering your need to be seen a certain way. But in that surrender, you gain something stronger than approval. You gain self-respect. Ask yourself, who are you still trying to change? Whose behavior are you obsessing over? Who are you shrinking for, hoping that if you are good enough, they will finally get it? And what would happen if you just let go? Not out of spite, not to prove a point, but because your energy deserves better. Because your peace is more valuable than someone else's opinion. And because the only thing more exhausting than trying to change others is realizing you never had to. Accept a reality to master it. Most suffering begins not with what is, but with what we refuse to accept. It is not the situation itself that crushes us. It is our resistance to it. We wish it were different. We think it is unfair. We cling to how it should be. In doing so, we trap ourselves in an invisible cage, a war with reality that no one ever wins. This is one of the hardest truths Stoicism offers. Acceptance is not giving up. It is stepping into clarity. It is looking life straight in the eyes and saying, "This is what it is. Now I choose how to meet it." That is not weakness. That is mastery. Because when you stop wishing the rain away, you can finally decide what to do with the storm. Let us be honest, it is uncomfortable to accept things we do not like. It feels passive. We fear it means surrender. If I accept that I failed, does that mean I stopped trying? If I accept that they are gone, does that mean it did not matter? If I accept this pain, does that mean I am okay with it? The answer is no. Acceptance is not resignation, it is recognition. It is the first step in reclaiming power. Because you cannot change what you will not face, and you cannot improve a reality you keep denying. Epictetus taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." That is the core of Stoicism. Not blind positivity, not passive suffering, but practical wisdom. If something is broken, fix it. If something cannot be fixed, adjust your relationship to it. Either way, start with what is not what you wish. Think about how much time we spend fighting reality, hoping someone will be different, wishing we had a different childhood, resisting a diagnosis, denying the truth about a relationship, a job, or ourselves. All the while, reality sits patiently waiting for us to stop struggling long enough to see it clearly. Acceptance does not mean liking everything. It means being honest about what is here now. Because only from that place of honesty can you act with wisdom. You cannot navigate life if your map is based on fantasy. The Stoic begins with what is real, no matter how uncomfortable, because from there, action becomes clear. Imagine this. You lose something important, a job, a friend, a plan you poured your heart into. You have two options. You can resist saying this should not have happened. You can replay every moment, every detail, searching for a different outcome. Or you can accept this happened. I did not want it. I did not choose it. But here it is. Now what? That shift changes everything. It frees your energy. It gives you direction. It puts you back in motion. And this does not only apply to big moments. It is in the little ones too, the missed train, the rude comment, the long delay, the unexpected change. Every time something interrupts your flow, you are given a choice. Resist or accept, react or respond, panic or pause. And the more you choose acceptance, the more resilient you become. Not because life gets easier, but because you stop wasting strength on what cannot be undone. One of the most powerful forms of acceptance is self-acceptance. Because often the hardest thing to face is ourselves, our flaws, our regrets, our limitations. But the Stoic does not avoid the mirror. He uses it. He looks with courage, not judgment. He says, "This is who I am today, and I take full responsibility." That is where growth begins, not in shame, but in truth. So if there is something in your life you have been resisting, a truth you have avoided, a change you have postponed, a reality you keep rewriting, take this as a sign, not to give up, but to wake up, to step out of the illusion and into awareness. Because once you stop fighting what is, you can start building what could be. And that is real freedom. Mastering inner chaos, Stoic principles for clarity and control. Life often feels chaotic and overwhelming, but Stoic philosophy, an ancient school of wisdom, reminds us that while we cannot control everything that happens, we can control how we respond. By applying Stoic principles of mental control and emotional clarity, we learn to govern ourselves even amid life's storms. This guide explores how to cultivate self-governance, clear perception, and intentional action in the face of chaos, drawing on practical Stoic insights. Self-governance, controlling your mind, not others. A core tenet of Stoicism is to focus on controlling your own mind and actions rather than the external world. Trying to control others is a frustrating illusion that only leads to disappointment. What we can control is our attitude, judgments, and decisions. The Stoics remind us that because we cannot control what happens around us, we should concentrate on controlling how we think about those events. In practice, letting go of the futile attempt to manage everything outside frees up energy to manage ourselves. This self-governance is empowering. It puts the locus of control back where it belongs within. Recognizing this dichotomy of control is liberating. Instead of wasting effort trying to change others or control every external detail, direct that effort inward. You cannot control if someone is rude to you, but you can control whether you meet them with anger or patience. You may not choose what happens in life, but you can choose how you interpret it and what action to take next. Shifting focus from what you can't control to what you can control eases anxiety and reminds you of your power over your own mind. Clarity over chaos, filtering perception with reason. When chaos strikes, our emotional reactions can quickly cloud judgment. Stoicism teaches that events themselves don't upset us. It's our perception of those events. As Epictetus observed, people are disturbed not by things but by the views they take of them. Pause to examine your impressions before accepting them. Ask yourself, is this situation as bad as my fear or anger suggests, or can I see it in a better light? By questioning your initial interpretation, you introduce reason and perspective. This clarity cuts through emotional fog and allows you to respond more wisely. Cultivating inner clarity requires mindfulness and objectivity. When emotions run high, pause and take a deep breath to avoid reacting rashly. Try to see the facts of a situation separately from your feelings about it. With a clear outlook, you stay in control of your response. Chaos around you doesn't have to mean chaos within. You can maintain a calm center by filtering events through reason. Letting go of blame and bitterness. In tough times, it's easy to resort to blaming others or even ourselves. However, blame only keeps us stuck in negativity. Stoicism encourages us to let go of blame as a step toward emotional freedom. When we blame others for a situation, we give away our power. When we harshly blame ourselves for mistakes, we drown in guilt instead of learning from them. Ideally, as Epictetus taught, we should blame no one. This doesn't mean avoiding responsibility or tolerating injustice. It means refusing to waste energy on fault-finding and choosing to focus on what we can do now. Instead of cursing a challenge or replaying whose fault it was, acknowledge that it happened and turn your attention to your next move. This mindset shift transforms you from a victim into an active participant. By letting go of blame and bitterness, you clear out unproductive emotions that intensify chaos. What remains is a sense of responsibility and a renewed focus on solutions. Respond with intention, not emotion. When chaos erupts, the impulse is often to react emotionally, to yell when provoked, or panic when plans fall apart. Yet such knee-jerk reactions usually make things worse, and we regret it later. Stoicism teaches the power of responding intentionally instead of reacting impulsively. This means inserting a gap between stimulus and response. When something happens, take a pause and ask yourself, what is the wisest way to handle this? By doing so, you can respond based on your values and reason, rather than let anger or fear take control. You cannot control every result, but you can always control your intentions and effort. If someone insults you, reacting in anger might feel good initially, but will only fuel conflict, whereas responding calmly or not at all shows true strength and can diffuse the situation. By choosing your response thoughtfully, you assert control over chaos instead of letting it control you. To practice responding with intention, try these steps. Pause and breathe. Take a slow breath to interrupt the urge to react. Recall your values. Remember who you want to be: patient, kind, courageous. Choose a response, pick an action that improves the situation instead of just venting. Surrender is a form of strength. Surrender might sound like giving up, but in Stoic philosophy, it actually means fully accepting reality so you can move forward. And there is great strength in accepting what you cannot change. This kind of surrender is not passive defeat. It's about refusing to waste energy on unwinnable battles. When you stop resisting facts that are beyond your control, you free yourself to focus on what is within your control. Surrender in this sense means relinquishing your resistance to reality. When you let go and accept what is, you regain the clarity and strength to deal with whatever comes. It takes courage to embrace this kind of acceptance, but doing so frees you from needless stress and makes you more resilient. Conclusion. Stoic philosophy offers a practical roadmap for navigating life's turbulence. By practicing these principles, you develop an inner fortress of resilience. Instead of being tossed by every storm, you stand anchored in what matters: your character and your chosen response. Remember, you cannot rule the outside world, but you are the ruler of your inner world. When you focus on what lies within your control and let go of the rest, life's chaos becomes much more manageable. In the end, mastering inner chaos through Stoic principles allows you to greet each day with wisdom and confidence. Your power to respond well is one of the greatest strengths you have. The Stoics understood that much of human suffering does not come from what happens to us, but from our refusal to accept it. We want things to be different. We replay how it could have gone. We cling to what should have been like it is a lifeline, but all it does is drown us. Seneca wrote, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling. When you surrender to what is, you move with life. When you resist, you get dragged." Surrender is not just about the big moments like loss, heartbreak, or failure. It is about the small daily moments too. The missed opportunity, the unexpected delay, the last-minute change in plans. The Stoic learns to see these moments not as enemies, but as invitations. Each one is a chance to practice letting go, to release the grip of control, and to say, "I will meet this moment as it is, not as I demand it to be." It takes far more courage to surrender than to struggle endlessly, because surrender requires trust. Not blind optimism, but reasoned trust. Trust in your ability to adapt. Trust in life's movement. Trust in the idea that fighting the inevitable only makes it heavier. In that trust, you begin to conserve something precious, your strength. Strength is not found in how much you can carry, but in how well you can release. It is found in your ability to stand calm in the face of the unchangeable, to say, "This happened, I feel it, I grieve it, and still I move forward." That is real power. That is emotional maturity. So if there is something in your life right now that you are resisting a truth, you keep avoiding a change, you keep denying a reality, you keep trying to bend, ask yourself, what would happen if I stop resisting? Not because you agree with it, and not because you are giving up, but because you want to use your energy to respond, not to wrestle shadows. Surrender does not mean silence. It does not mean inaction. It means your actions are guided by acceptance, not illusion. That changes everything. You move from force to flow, from tension to clarity, from struggle to strength. In a world obsessed with control, the one who surrenders with wisdom stands out not as weak, but as centered. Choose intentional response over reaction. Every moment presents a fork in the road. One path is reaction, fast, automatic, often emotional. The other is response, slow, considered, and intentional. Reaction may feel powerful in the moment, but it often leads to regret. Response may feel quiet, but it builds character. It preserves dignity. Most importantly, it gives you back control. The difference between the two is not just about timing, it is about consciousness. Reaction is what happens when you let your emotions drive the car. Response is when you acknowledge those emotions, but keep your hands on the wheel. The Stoics believe that the gap between stimulus and action is sacred. That is where your freedom lives. You cannot always choose what happens to you, but you can always choose what happens through you. That split second, that breath, that pause, that moment of awareness, this is your opportunity to rise above your lower instincts and live according to your values. Take a simple example. Someone cuts you off in traffic. The immediate reaction is rage, yelling, honking, frustration. But for what? The Stoic pauses and asks, is this worth my peace? Will this matter tomorrow? Is this moment truly worth my energy, or is my pride reacting to something I cannot control? That pause, that internal questioning, is how you break the cycle. Most of our reactions are inherited, conditioned, and rarely questioned. We absorb them from family, from culture, from past wounds. But a response is a conscious act. It says, "This time I choose differently. I will not repeat the pattern. I will not let this moment define me." This practice extends far beyond traffic or small annoyances. It applies to criticism, disappointment, betrayal, and even success. When someone misunderstands you, do you defend impulsively, or do you clarify with purpose? When you are hurt, do you lash out, or do you reflect and communicate with maturity? These are not just emotional habits. They are the building blocks of character. Choosing response means understanding that real power is not in domination, but in composure. Anyone can react. Anyone can lash out. But it takes strength to stay calm and respond with clarity. Marcus Aurelius, as emperor of Rome, had unlimited power. Yet he constantly reminded himself not to be carried away by emotion. "Let reason guide you," he wrote. "Be firm but fair." A leadership and life are not about reacting to every impulse. They are about mastering them. So how do you build this ability to respond? You start by noticing. Each time something stirs, you ask yourself, is this a reaction or a response? Give yourself space before speaking. Train your nervous system to meet discomfort with curiosity, not chaos. You become less interested in being right and more devoted to being wise. You will still feel emotions. That is human, but the Stoic sees emotions as messengers, not masters. You listen, but you do not obey them blindly. You acknowledge them, then choose how to act. Over time, you become less reactive, more grounded. Others notice it, but more importantly, you notice it. You stop being a slave to circumstance. You become someone who moves with depth, not noise. So next time life pushes your buttons, pause and ask, do I want to add more chaos or more clarity? Because every time you choose response over reaction, you step closer to the person you want to be. True control is self-control. When people talk about power, they usually mean influence or authority, the ability to control things around them. But the Stoics believed that the highest form of power was not what you command outwardly, but what you master inwardly. And nothing reflects that more than self-control. Self-control is the invisible force behind your choices when no one is watching. It is the discipline to hold your tongue when you are angry, the restraint not to indulge every craving, the integrity to do the right thing even when it is hard. It is not about being cold. It is about being aligned. It means not letting every emotion dictate your behavior. It means principle over impulse. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That mastery does not come from brute force. It comes from awareness, from daily practice, from falling short and realigning again and again. You build it like a muscle. Each time you say no to what weakens you and yes to what strengthens you, you grow. Think about how often we blame others for our internal chaos. They made me angry. They hurt me. The world is unfair. But that is the voice of someone who has given their power away. The Stoic refuses to live like that. He does not pretend feelings do not exist. He simply chooses how he responds. Self-control gives boundary space between thought and action, space between desire and decision, space between chaos and clarity. In that space you rise. You become someone others can rely on, someone you can rely on. But self-control is not just about saying no. It is also about saying yes. Yes to purpose over pleasure. Yes to progress over comfort. Yes to discipline over distraction. That is what sets the Stoic apart. He does not seek to control the world. He seeks to control the one thing that defines his entire experience, himself. This control shows up in small, ordinary ways. Waking up when you said you would, finishing what you started, holding your tongue in a pointless argument, choosing silence over drama, rest over burnout. None of these are flashy, but together they form an armor, one that protects your time, your focus, and your values. In the end, you do not need to control the noise of the world when you have found the volume knob inside yourself. If you want control, start there. Not with others, not with circumstances, but with your thoughts, your words, your actions. That is where the real victory lies. Not because the world gets easier, but because you get stronger. And that is what Stoicism teaches. Your greatest power is not in what you control. It is in who you become when you do. The world will always be unpredictable. People will disappoint. Plans will fall apart. Life will test your patience and strength. But there is one truth that remains. You are not here to control the chaos. You are here to master yourself within it. That is what Stoicism offers. Not a perfect life, but a powerful mind. A mind that knows what to hold on to and what to release. A mind that pauses before it reacts. That filters pain through clarity. That refuses to surrender to fear. And that does not waste energy trying to command the uncontrollable. If there is one message to take from this, it is this: your peace is not waiting for life to calm down. It is waiting for you to stop fighting what was never yours to control. You do not need to control the future to move forward with strength. You only need to control your breath, your thoughts, and your next step. Step lightly. Choose wisely. And remember, the more you master yourself, the less the world can shake you. If there's one lesson to take from this Stoic reflection, It's that your greatest power lies not in controlling the world, but in mastering your response to it. Life will always bring challenges, delays, disappointments, misunderstandings. But what defines your strength is how you meet those moments. Instead of reacting emotionally or trying to force outcomes, pause and ask, what part of this is mine to control? Accept what you cannot change, not as a sign of weakness, but as an act of clarity. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. In your daily life, this might look like walking away from conflict that doesn't serve you, choosing silence over argument, or taking a deep breath before responding to stress. Practice self-control not just in big decisions, but in the small, ordinary ones: when to speak, when to rest, when to let go. The more you live intentionally, the more resilient you become. Peace isn't found by fixing the world around you. It's found by managing the world within you. So stop trying to rewrite reality. Start rewriting your reaction. That's how you reclaim your energy, protect your peace, and build a life grounded in strength and purpose.